Let's span the state.
You can have me on
some.
every morning if we can get nothstine to crank out the limerick.
Okay. You're referring to...
It's his week this week. Everything that I'm reading this week is stuff that was created, posted, written by Nothstine, one of my editors. So
Bill.
Bill. It's his week, and he does the limericks for me every week. So fair credit.
Fair credit.
Here's number one. It's about crime and punishment. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Any fugitive ought to have known, but he didn't. His cover was blown. He'd have been in good shape, even made his escape if he'd only turned off his
cell phone.
That's right. High-speed police chase in Salem ended near Woodburn when the fleeing driver rolled his car and fled into a nearby field of tall grass with his phone on. It began ringing, and the police, who had brought out tracking dogs, just followed the ringtones.
Hoisted by his own petard.
That's right.
It reminds me that never mind. We'll go on. Here's an educational limerick. You ready? Special ed kids don't need a magician, just a classroom that suits their condition. And thanks to the SCOTUS, public schools are on notice. Local districts must pay.
The tuition?
That's right.
Very good.
The Forest Grove case, the Supreme Court.
Right,
that's what
right.
SCOTUS is, Supreme Court of the United States.
Yeah, and that's very close to being a nasty word.
I like rhyming SCOTUS and notice. That's classic.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court reaffirmed that the public school has to cough up the money for tuition when parents put their kids in a private school for special education needs. So Forest Grove said, "Why we don't have to pay?" And the Supreme Court said, "Yes, you do."
Good.
You know, I think the parents asked one time and then took action. They didn't really, I believe from what I've heard, they didn't really ask again. They just asked one time and then took a court case.
I don't have a fully formed position on it. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't read the ruling, and it's a complex issue. It sounds a little bit counterintuitive that if they're going to private school, that the public school would still have to pay for them. But it's a kind of a complex issue.
Well, if they pay taxes just like everyone else, and their children don't get the benefit of those taxes in the school because the school doesn't provide proper facilities for those kids,
Well,
then
it's true, but
it's appropriate that those schools should have to reimburse them for the amount of that cost.
But the public school doesn't have to do it for non-disabled kids.
Because the facilities are satisfactory for them.
The only thing that I heard about it, and I don't have all the facts, is that the parents were not willing to work with the school district. They would have worked with them if they made more of an effort. But I don't know all the facts.
Well, there was also a rule where the kid had to go to the school, the public school, for a certain amount of time, and then if it didn't work, then if they enrolled in private school, they would get reimbursed.
You know what would be great? If every case that came to SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, had to be argued in limericks.
That would be
Now, see, I would be for that. We got
And
one
the questions. Yeah, sure. This one's dedicated.
The
all
questions too.
All right, here we go. Legislating's no full-time profession, though at times it might leave that impression. But perhaps we will see him save bucks on per diem by shaving a month off
2011.
the session.
Oh, well.
That's right. We're old.
Okay.
We're gonna that'll really hurt the kids. We're gonna get rid of December, or I guess we could choose a different month. We'll get rid of February.
Actually, we'll do a podge poem. Which month you want thrown out of the year?
We'll try February, yeah, because it's a cold month too.
As long as we get paid for that month, even though it doesn't exist.
So actually, they want to throw out January. They want to start in 2011 by starting in February and go through the end of June.
I think Vicki
basically.
Walker has said that might happen.
That she got a lot to do in January.
Well, no, she just said
She's got busy.
reported.
She's returning gifts.
She
and things like
reported
that
it was under consideration.
Oh, I see.
That we don't want to infer any or imply anything on the air. TJ, thank you so much. TJ, loaded Oregon. It's great to have you in. And
Thanks,
great to have the
TJ.
limericks.
See you next week.
Very good.